Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to a world of laughter, learning, and entertainment. Hello, fellow enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of Carl Mücke editor. Carl Wilhelm Ludwig Muecke, 16 July 1815 – 4 January 1898, occasionally written Mock and frequently referred to as Drive Muecke, was a German-born clergyman, plant pathologist and German-language newspaper editor in the colony of South Australia. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of history and their profound significance. Muecke was born in Mücke, near Magdeburg, and was originally destined for a career in mining, which he studied at Freiburg, but after experiencing an accident in the mines, his father sent him to the University of Bonn, where he took his degrees. He served for a time as an observer on the Luxembourg border during the 1831 war between Belgium and Holland. He began teaching chemistry and became an activist for the cause of compulsory education in state schools. He was an excellent speaker and much in demand at the Handwerkerverein, or Workers' Education Society in Berlin. One of Muecke's brothers established a Liedertafel in association with the Verein, which after his death erected a monument to his memory. During the repressive Eichen ministry, Muecke published some anti-authoritarian pamphlets, for which two of his fellows were punished. He moved to Berlin, where he had a hand in editing educational yearbooks. Following the revolutions of 1848, Muecke left Germany for South Australia aboard Princess Louise, arriving in August 1849. Also on board were two of the Schomburg brothers, Otto Alfred Karl Schomburg and his wife Maria Charlotte Schomburg von Selchow, and Richard Moritz Schomburg and Pauline Henriette Schomburg-Kneib, who were married at sea. He was naturalized as a British subject in September 1849. One of the few times his name was written as Mock. Muecke was one of a number of influential German-speaking residents such as Ludwig Becker, Hermann Bettler, William Blandowski, Amalie Dietrich, Wilhelm Hock, Diedrich Henn, Gerard Krefft, Friedrich Krischoff, Johann Luhmann, Johann Menge, Ludwig Price, Karl Ludwig Christian Rumke aka Runke, Moritz Richard Schomburg, Richard Wolfgang Semann, Karl Theodor Steiger, George Ulrich, Eugene von Gerard, Robert von Lindenfeld, Ferdinand von Muir, Georg von Neumayer, and Karl Wilhelmi, who brought their epistemic traditions to Australia, and not only became deeply entangled with the Australian colonial project, but also were intricately involved in imagining, knowing and shaping colonial Australia. Barrett, et al. 2018. He first settled as a farmer near Goa, but agriculture had no great attraction for him, and in 1859 he accepted an invitation to serve as pastor of the Lutheran church at Tanunda, and shortly afterwards settled in that town. Over the next 20 years he also served several other Lutheran congregations: Linduk, Concordia 5 Gwieni of Gawler, Schoenfeld near Freeling, and Kingsbelt near Sheoklog. At each of these pastorates he was closely associated with the church school and intellectual life of these towns. He was at the forefront of agitation for equal voting rights for naturalized Germans, and gave popular and stimulating lectures on scientific subjects. He was of great assistance to Sir Robert Torrens in promoting the Real Property Act, which, thanks to Drive Ulrich Hub, was largely based on the system used in the Hanse towns, and helped organize a festival at Tanunda in honor of Sir Robert after the act was passed. For years he took a very practical interest in tacle and red rust, significant diseases of wheat, studying the soil and roots under a microscope, and discovered parasites that could have been responsible. His M.A. degree was conferred by the University of Adelaide. In the next segment, we'll be exploring journalism and its implications for our subject matter. In late 1849, Muecke, together with Otto Schomburg and Gustav Droge, founded the Süddeutsche Zeitung, a German-language weekly newspaper, using Roman type and replacing umlaut letters with their two-letter equivalent, perhaps as a rejection of tradition, or that being the only typeface available. The following year it was printed in traditional black letter type as Süddeutsche Zeitung. Throughout the history of the paper, Muecke had a considerable attachment in its various phases. Sisterliche Zeitung absorbed a Tan-under paper name not known in early 1851. The paper was for a time printed in Adelaide by the South Australian Register, and for several years was not published at all due to the Victorian gold rush. It was re-established in the mid to late years by different owners, but better information is hard to find. The Sisterliche Zeitung was in 1859 sold to Rudolf Reimer 7 April 1860, who founded Adelaide Deutsche Zeitung in April 1851, but continued publication in Tan-under as a separate title. The Sisterliche Zeitung was in late 1862 sold to Bezow, Barton, and Eimer, trading as George Eimer and Company. Contrary to promises and expectations, they immediately moved production from Tan-under to Adelaide. The partnership was dissolved on 31 January 1863 and Eimer became sole owner. Frederick Bezow, Muecke's son-in-law and Celsius H. Barton retaliated in 1863 with a new Tan-under publication, the Tan-under Deutsche Zeitung, edited by Muecke until 1869, when he left Tan-under for the neighbouring colony of Victoria, according to one report, to set up a branch office which failed to thrive, and returned to Tan-under the following year. Barton was later to become bankrupt and in 1867 fled to Maryborough, Queensland, owing substantial sums to his Tan-under backers. In January 1870, Eimer and Company founded the Sisterliche Zeitung, and Sisterliche Zeitung continued to be published until December 1874, when it was absorbed into Sisterliche Zeitung. Wilhelm Eggers c. from roughly owner-editor of the Adelaide Deutsche Zeitung, was part owner and editor from at least 1871 to 1875. Around 1876, now living in Adelaide, Muecke was appointed chief editor. Moving on to the next segment, we have later years. In November 1869, in anticipation of Muecke's imminent departure for Melbourne, the Evening Journal published a detailed biography of one of the most prominent representatives of German culture. For many years he resided at Semaphore, then around 1890, thinking the mountain air would be more beneficial to his health, he retired to Hahndorf. On his 80th birthday a great celebration was held at the German Club in his honor. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze recognition from different angles and evaluate its significance. The flowering plant Goodenia Mueckina was named for him by Baron Ferdinand von Mueller. Drive Muecke was in 1870 awarded a £50 prize by the Victorian Board of Agriculture for his essay on Takel. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of family. Muecke married Emily Friederike Mayhoff, died 1851 in Germany. He married again, to Caroline Schomburg, died 15 November 1874, sister of Richard Schomburg. He married one more time, to Marie Jepp, died 1934 in Anna Clara Helena Muecke, c. 1840-19 June 1921, married Friedrich August Karl Schrader, 16 June 1860 in 1859. She married again, to Frederick Bezow in 1868, Hugo Carl Emil Muecke, c. 1843, 6 June 1929, married Margaret Elizabeth Julia LePage, 1 November 1918 on to April 1863. They had a home, the Myrtles, Thorngate, South Australia. Among their children were second son Alfred Eugen Muecke, 13 September 1868, 15 January 1886, was drowned with son of W.R. Cave while holidaying at Chowilla, the station of William Robertson. Fourth son Walter LePage Muecke, 16 June 1875, 15 March 1894, died as result of accident at Roseworthy Agricultural College. Sixth son Francis Frederick Muecke, 6 December 1879, 14 April 1945, a noted surgeon, married Ada Crossley on 11 April. I. Eugen Victor Ottoman Muecke, c. 1843, 20 February 1882, married Ida Henriette Mumm, 1923 in 1875. They had 4 children. He was a manager, National Bank. She was a granddaughter of Carl Edmund Mumm, conductor of Adelaide Liedertafel. Hedwig Emma Victoria Mücke 1851, 16 November 1874, married Adolf Witze 1835, 12 August 1889. In 1867, a well-known stockbroker and president of the German Club, Witt died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this video.